Very much. Thanks a lot to all the esteemed panelists. We had a very detailed discussions about the structuring, the regulation, the taxations, and the market on the REITs and InvIT. I belong to a group, as Sarah said, who is lending to infrastructure projects. We have already sanctioned almost about 2 lakh crores of funds to infrastructure in India, where there is a disbursement of about 1 lakh crores. We have exposure to about 30% of the Indian infrastructure. So we largely understand where the infrastructure is, what are the unique characteristics of infrastructure, and what lenders should be looking at. I will be largely talking about InvITs. When you're looking at InvITs compared to the REIT, there are 3 unique characteristics of feature that I would like to touch on. One, yes, infrastructure projects are large, they are complex, it's very difficult, and you need very detailed characteristics to evaluate those projects, which most of the sophisticated investors doesn't have it. Like the institutional investors, like the pension funds, provident funds, the insurance companies, they neither have nor they are required to have the skill set to look at and evaluate an infrastructure project. And the banks are the right persons or the right investors who can actually look at infrastructure and can evaluate it. But we have a problem that the banks, due to their ALM, can lend only up to 3-year, 5-year, or 10-year. But if we have to structure large infrastructure project, if I take examples of, say, the English Tunnel, which was having a concession of 100 years and 200 institutions participated at the funding, not at one time, but over at a period of time, different investors keep on coming and going out as per their taste and flavor, as per their preferences of the tenures and the risk appetite that they have. They kept on coming and funding it. That is how the large infrastructure projects are funded. In India, unfortunately, when we're looking at infrastructure, we get a lot of news in the newspapers which talks about the time and cost over and of the infrastructure projects. And there's a general negative perspective among the public that infrastructure project, if I'm investing into it, I'm taking a huge amount of a risk. I will distinguish it into 2 phases when you're looking at infrastructure. One is the greenfield project, which is the construction phase. Yes, there are risks in that. There are chances of time and cost overrun. There are regulatory challenges. There are other challenges of acquiring the land, having the other regulations and all. But once the project is completed, then it's no longer a project, it's an asset. You have predicted cash flow out here. You can know what your tariff is, what your toll is going to come in. If it is an airport, you know what kind of revenue is coming in. So you have 90% surety of the revenue that is coming in. It's a stable long-term cash flow that is coming, and it is linked to inflation also. So it has all the characteristics which the institutional investors or retirement funds like the pension, provident fund, and insurance funds will be looking for. So the right way of investing into infrastructure is, as we have been always saying, that the banks come in the construction stage, they take over the construction risk, and after that, it is tossed over to the other investors who can give the patience capital for longer tenure. InvIT is a very good mechanism of doing that, because in the InvIT, you're getting an asset which is completed, because SEBI regulates 80% of the asset should be completed and revenue generating. And then 90% of the cash flow is distributed to the investors. So you have the predictability of the cash flow also coming into it. You have a good regulatory structure out here. If we look at the kind of funding that is required for infrastructure, whether it is NIP, which is 111 lakh crores, and in addition to we have another projects, government has a huge national monetization plan where we need huge amount of money. So we have to attract the funds from the pension funds and the provident funds and the HNIs into this segment. And InvITs give us a very good vehicle to do it. And as I said, once the project is completed, it is safer for those investors to come in because there's a predictability of the cash flows out there.